Lift a voice, say like you mean it. Meja was so. He knows my name. He knows my need. He's my present help in time of need. Meja was so. No. Say yes. Oh, Kasa. Hadini Nara Yeko Hadini Nara Yeko Hadini Nara.
Tibano, mundi new bar ne coin. What they find?
Yep. He said, as we were talking.
No, na see omoye no man. So on what basis no man estimate?
Okay, yo. Hello, a very good evening to you. Today is Wednesday, and you know Wednesdays what we do. Wednesdays here with Dr. Boadi Nyamekye. Today promises to be another very insightful discussion we're going to be having here. Last week was great. Unfortunately, we had some bit of technical hitches. We could not bring the program to the conclusion. So today we are continuing from where we left off. You are welcome to Wednesday with Dr. Boadi Nyamekye. My name is Anapoko. I'm going to be taking a short break. Today we are still talking about the subject of death, a subject that when you mention it makes people think and it triggers a lot of emotions. Maybe you've lost a dear one before, you've lost a colleague, a family member, someone who was very close to you. How did you feel? The pain, the anxiety. What are some of the emotions that left behind? We are going to be finding answers to some of these things. How do we even prepare for this phenomenon that is likely to happen to you, if not now, maybe later in life? We want to find out the mystery surrounding death. I'm sure someone right now, even as I spoke about it, is bringing some memories to you. Some of them might be uncomfortable, but it's very important that we get into it so that we learn how to handle it, how to prepare for it. Even if you believe in life after death or you don't, you still have to prepare for it. So please stay with us. We're going to take a short break. When we return, Dr. Michael will get us into the matter for the day. Please stay tuned.
God, when He wants you to move to your next level, He will always put your faith on trial, and until you are able to overcome the boisterous and the tempestuous winds that will come up against you, you are not ready to be given the crown of success or significance. Anytime God will give you a word, you not see Him in the boat, but He has oversight responsibility over the journey. Whatever you are going through, He's just watching. Most of the time, the devil will not start when you start. He'll only get through to you when you happen to be in the middle of the journey. God will always put your faith on trial. And when He does that, it is not because He wants you to fail, but He wants to make a bold statement with you and make a statement of claim to the devil. And anytime God is making boast of you, He is putting your faith on trial.
All right, welcome back. And you are live on Wednesday. Today is going to be great. Yeah. Last week, Dr. Michael shared with us some of the stories. And one of the things that really spoke to me personally was when he was sharing with us the time that the death of his mother, beg your pardon, was announced to him. That time being in school, how he took it, how he handled it. Unfortunately, we had a bit of technical hitches, as I said. And today we are going to let him take us through that. How was he able to handle it? And the way forward. For some of us who still have our parents alive, you still have your dear ones very close to you. You don't know when they are going to take leave of you. How do we prepare for that? Papa, you are welcome.
Thank you.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
So sure. Good to see you.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Very
now,
exciting.
Wednesday is really, it's caught up with everybody already. Now, we can't seem to wait for Wednesday to come because it's been very educative for over
it's exciting.
Over the years. Yeah.
It's exciting. I believe that there should be much more avenues to share, not just word or scripture, but life experiences and roadmap or blueprints to life and what we can do to let things go harmoniously. So good. I think it's a good thing. It's a good platform, and people are learning. It's not something for, say, Christians or Muslims. It's something for humans. So Wednesday is supposed to speak to every human being alive, whether the person is a Muslim, a Christian, a Buddhist, a Shintoist, whoever the person is. So far as the person is alive, yes, because that ultimately should be our preoccupation.
That's right.
That people will get to know the tools, the tips, the skills to live a successful life.
Yeah, rightly so, because Wednesday has discussed lot of subjects, from business plans, how to develop business ideas, about relationships, married couples, how they need to handle themselves, and even within the COVID period and during the lockdown period, we had very educative, and it's been a blessing to many with wisdom nuggets.
Amen. Amen.
So, thank you, and God bless you.
Amen.
All right, so today we are talking about death again, and I remember last week you were sharing with us something you picked from this popular song from Amachi Dede. He said that and it got me thinking throughout the week how the song actually tells you to really start think about this phenomenon that is bound to happen to you, if not in the immediate, maybe in the near future. But how should we position ourselves vis-a-vis your experience with the passing of your mom?
To think about it is not to be obsessed by it. Okay. To know that something like that is going to be a natural occurrence doesn't mean that you should get fixated on that. Everybody's going to die, but don't wake up thinking, when am I dying? When is death knocking on my doors? Or when am I going to die? Am I dying soon? I'm going to die later. That is not. In fact, if there is anything you don't need to be taught, there are things you don't need anybody to teach you. There are things that will just happen. It's just like two virgins on a honeymoon. Nobody will teach them anything. They will know what to do. When death knocks on your door, you don't even know, you don't have to even rehearse how to die. When it comes, you know how to do it. So there are certain things. What I mean is that don't get fixated on it. You shouldn't be obsessed with the idea of death. How you live is very important. If you live well, dying is not a problem. Okay? Because to a very organized mind, death is a great adventure.
Would you say that again?
To a very organized mind, death is a great adventure. So it's just you knowing that there is a place you go, you're going to go somewhere else, but whilst you're alive, you live well. For me, just as you mentioned, when my mom passed, I was a young boy. About my mom passed on about 19 years ago, thereabout. I was in school, and I had a call that mom had passed. I think I was using a Sony Ericsson phone. Sony Ericsson that time. There were no. It was either a blue screen or a red screen, because those were the two colors. And Nokia was doing a green screen, something like that. But I think I was using a Sony Ericsson with a little ball in the middle, something like that. It was about 19 plus years ago. So I had a call. I was social science research, so we were doing it at Old Site, UCC. When the call came through and mom had passed, I was very close to my mom, very, very extremely close to my mom. I took after my mother. So when
in terms of looks?
In terms of looks. So if you see me and my mother, or if you see my mom's photograph, you don't need to be told that that's the son. I don't look anything like my dad. My dad is light-skinned, is tall and heavy. I'm nowhere close. But and so when the news got to me, it did affect me, of course. I couldn't concentrate. In fact, I left the class and I called home. They told me what had happened. I had to come home to go through it. What really helped me then was the fact that I was into ministry. The day before my mom passed on, I saw my mom in a dream. Wow. And my mom was looking very beautiful, like a glorified body. And I couldn't get close to her. I saw her, she didn't talk to me, I didn't talk to her, but she was looking gorgeous. That's it. So when it happened, I was leading people to pray. I was praying with the vice chancellor of the university, praying with everybody.
But when the call came in, were you in class? Or
I was in class.
Okay.
I was in class. So I got out of the class.
To answer the phone call?
No, I answered the call in the class because the class had not begun. Okay. UCC those days, you have to be in class early because the numbers were great. Yeah. The numbers were too much. So if you don't get to class early, you have to stand. I'll get to the class, sit, and all of that. But I was able to go through it because I had comfort from the Spirit of God. When the Holy Spirit ministers to your heart and to your spirit, you are able to go through the worst of pains, the strangest of nightmares. It is the confidence we have in the Comforter. I will not leave you like that. I will send you a Comforter. And the work of the Comforter is to help us understand some of these things and to help us take some of these life blows well, so that we can sojourn. Because the whole idea is that if the departed was a person of principle, faith, character, and integrity, you know where the person is going. I think that is more comforting. Okay. If the person dies and you know that the person is not sound enough, you begin to worry the more. But with Mom, she's done so much. She was doing so much. I think that if my mom was somebody who was much more loose in her faith, as in she could walk in a little bit of more wisdom than she walked in, she would have been alive. I'm saying that because my mom was hypertensive. She was supposed to be taking her drugs. She won't take them because she is prayed. Most of the people who, I don't want to mention names, but most of the prophets that are of that generation, they knew my mom. My mom will give to them. My mom, who happened to be a midwife and be doing some businesses on the side, was a bit liquid to give to prophets. So they loved her. She was given. She would rather rely on the oil that has been given by a prophet than the prescribed drug to be taken once or twice a day. So that's why I'm saying that maybe, I'm just saying maybe, because sometimes too, that is the way God will want the person to exit. It's just like saying that if Jesus had denied that he wasn't the king, they would have allowed him to live. But there are some things that are by divine design. And so I was able to take it because I knew who she was, a prayer warrior, a preacher, somebody who was there to help as much as she could. And so that gave me the confidence. And of course, the dream I had and the voice of the Spirit of God I had 19 years ago after my mother had departed also helped me to move on. Yes.
Okay. You were in ministry at that time.
Yes.
And I want to be getting a bit, I will digress a bit and then we'll come back to it to ask you how we need to get our minds prepared. Because as you said in the beginning, that it's not something that you wake up thinking about death, right? But it's eventually going to happen to you, if not in the immediate, in the future. How do we get our minds prepared? But before that, folks, please share the video. If you are live, you are very much welcome. Please share the video. I invite many people to watch the program. It's going to speak to you. It's going to bless you as well. At a certain point in the course of the program, we'll open the phone lines for you to share with us some of your experiences. Maybe you've lost a dear one and it's very difficult to take it in. You don't know how to handle it. Share with us. Call. Papa is here. He'll pray with you and find the right word that is going to keep you and help you. So please share the video, create watch parties, and then yes, you are good to go. Most importantly, let us know where you are watching us from as well. We really appreciate that. All right. So, Papa, having said that, you were in ministry at that time, and you said it helped you too. How about those who are not even Christians in that regard? Let me even share the story with you. There's this lady who was a doctor, a medical doctor, and the husband too was also a doctor. Two young people in their early 30s. And then this gentleman died. The husband died. In fact, the shock and the pain, the lady could barely handle it. It was too much. A year on, when they got to the anniversary, a year after, during that the 1 year anniversary of the passing of the husband, The lady who was that time in her, even around the mid-30s, looked like someone who was about over 50 years. I mean, she couldn't handle it. It was too much for her. She had changed. A young lady, a doctor, she looked like a 55. People react to pain and these shocks differently. What must we do going forward? What must we do to be able to absorb some of these shocks so that it doesn't really take that bad toll on us?
What must we do to handle the loss of a dear one? Interestingly, just as you said, we are very, very different, and we respond differently most of the time, most of the things that we do. But if the person is all right, if the person was a person of faith, their departure shouldn't be much more of a problem. But again, it is the understanding of the mortal to know that nobody has signed on to an agreement of immortality on earth. That we all came in through different portals, and our exit doors are also very different. We are not going to go through life honestly having everybody we have known around us till we exit. So there are going to be those issues. We are going to have people that will exit. We are going to have people that will stay on. There are going to be people that we also exit before them. So like I said, the life of the person should have been a life well lived. Losses are difficult to bear. But again, like I said, if this person you are saying is a Christian or a Muslim, just like the Rastafarian said, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. Death is a part of us. It's a necessary evil. We will all exit. As they say, life is a stage. Once you finish performing, you bow. You take your hat off and you exit. It's just that you should make sure, preparing your mind, make sure that, say, if the person, of course, if the person exited on the right side, whatever side the person is on, you have to live your life such that if there is anything called the afterlife, and they can open the curtains of the unseen and look at us, the person will look at you with pride, knowing that you lived well. I keep saying that I will want a situation whereby if my mom can open the curtains of eternity and look into time, she should be able to say, I'm proud of my son. So I don't have to be carried away, fixated, saddened by her departure. I have to be mindful that I live well. I live my life such that I die empty. And if she is to look down on me, she should be very happy. It's the same thing to the doctor. If there are kids, I believe that the gentleman will be expecting that, my dear wife, take heart, use your profession, use your wisdom, use the God-given grace to raise our kids. At least I left you something of myself. So when you look at them, know that you have me because I gave me to them. And that all those things should help. But there is no way textbook formula for handling losses because we are all very different. Some people can go under the knife without thinking. There are people, I learned having tattoos is very painful.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
There are people who almost every month they do a new one. It's like they don't feel the pain. It's the same thing. And for me, I'm ticklish. So I'm wondering how I can stay for somebody to. So it will be a problem.
Okay.
It will be a problem. I might fight somebody. So it depends. We are very different. There is no textbook, but at least you should live your life such that if the person is to look at you, the person will be very, very proud that you are there, you are standing for them, standing in for them. You know.
Well, let me throw this at you as well. There are parents, of course, and let's say some men, big women, who have families, and an entire family is more or less like he or she is shouldering everybody in there. With a situation like that, with the passing of the person, which means it's obviously going to be very difficult for this family to be able to live. In the context of that, would you advise that people don't really put their hopes on human beings, since we can exit at any point?
Well, I'm a preacher, so that question is dead on arrival. I mean, as a Christian, curse is the person that relies or trusts in the arm of flesh. I mean, I don't live my life thinking, you know, that I don't build life on promise. Okay, when somebody promises me of something tomorrow, I don't plan against it. I've never done that in my life, because if the person is to die tonight, my life will be on hold, or I will be in trouble. So that's not how I plan. So anybody at all, if the person is there tomorrow, it's an add-on. It's something that you can have. That's fine. But if somebody is the one that is the breadwinner of an entire family, paying the school fees of people and all of that, and the person enjoys people coming to him to ask for fees, the person did not lead well. That person, supposed person who passed on,
That's right,
did not live well. Because if you really feel that is what you should do, that is not the roadmap for it. You should rather put them, that's why we normally talk about multiple streams of income. You should have streams that you know that this one, say I set up a business that you handle, but that business pays the fee. So you know people you are paying their fees as the manager of the business, so that people will not run to me every day for school fees and all of that, because anything at all can happen. I mean, you don't have to be old to pass on. You don't have to also be young to exit. Everybody can exit. So you don't build your life such that if there is anything anybody else can do for you, you are thankful, you are grateful. But if nothing happens, you are not going to sit down waiting for manna to fall. That's what I've always been saying, that people should take control of their own lives. Don't entrust your life into the hands of another. If nobody helps you, help yourself. If nobody is pushing you, you should push yourself up. If you go to the gym, there are pull-ups bars where you pull your own body weight. If nobody is there to lift you, you should be able to lift yourself up. And most of the time, I think that it is the entitlement mentality that causes that. Everybody feels, okay, so if you have this, then you can do this for me, or you have to do that for me. But people should live beyond that. If the person lives on to do what you want to do, it's a blessing. But if the person doesn't, don't wait on another person for a takeoff in life. Yeah.
There are people, even some Christians, still haven't accepted or come to terms with the concept of life after death. They think that once we die, that's the end of it.
That's not a Christian.
Okay.
Because the Bible doesn't say that. The Bible says there is something after life, after death. For it is appointed unto man to die once. Hebrews chapter 9, the verse number 27. But after death is judgment. So there is something after death. So if somebody doesn't believe there is something after death, then the person is not a Christian. Because in Christianity, there is something after death. Judgment comes after death. So there is life after death. That life does not end when you close your eyes or you shut your eyes to this world. But life begins. That's why I was saying, to the very well organized mind, death is an adventure. So you are living here, but you are getting into something much more interesting.
Which means that should also inform the way we even live our lives, since there's something more beyond.
Now, the most important thing is not even to talk about death in itself. It's to talk about how you live. Because life is a play that whether you are well costumed or not, you get on the stage. Death itself doesn't need a counselor or a teacher. When the time comes for you to die, you just die. You don't have to rehearse it. It is rather life that you need lessons, tools, guidance to live. So it is a problem if you don't live well. Living well is more crucial. Okay? You have to live well. You have to live your life. You have to pursue dreams. You have to hit targets. You have to be a blessing to other people. You have to make life worth your while. You shouldn't waste God's air. You should add something meaningful to life because you are here. And these are some of the things that we probably need to be talking about, because it is about how well you live. A shroud, a coffin, and a grave is all that you take away. And so you are going to leave almost everything behind. But the things you are going to leave behind, what are going to be, or what is going to be the memory as far as the things you leave behind are concerned. So it's the life you live. It's not so much the death, because dying, when you die, there's no more pain. So if you have been complaining, you have migraines, death will kill it for you. If you've been complaining of poverty, after you die, there's nothing like broke. Nobody is broke anymore.
Like my mother would say that you don't have to sleep when you die. You can afford
exactly. You sleep all your. So those are beautiful moments and things that probably death brings.
Okay. But how would you advise or maybe put forth in terms of how well we've been speaking about how well we should live our life? That's the most important thing. How do we? Is it just a matter of just chasing dreams and that's all?
Well, you live such that your life is an oasis in the desert for somebody else. That you become a beacon of hope for a dying, perverse generation. That you become a source of inspiration and motivation to many people. That you, as a Christian, if you are, you become somebody who will proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord. You liberate the captives. You set the captives free. You open the prison gates to them that are bound. You will stand in the hedge and bridge the gap. You will be the intercessor and the advocate for many. There are so many things that you can do. Of course, chasing dreams is also one of them. Making sure that your life is an impactful life. That is very important. You should live a life of impact. That the people that will come into contact with you will be enriched and ennobled. That if people come into contact with you, as I keep saying, when you exit, what is going to be the memory you will leave behind? Those are things that you live for. You don't live for houses and cars. You live for a legacy. You live that when you pass on, somebody will say, once upon a time, God gave Ghana a president who did ABCD for the nation. Once upon a time, God gave GFA a president. Once upon a time, God gave FIFA a president. Once upon a time, God gave Kenya a president. This business, a CEO. And they changed the dynamics of the game. Those are some of the things that you should be thinking about.
Well, I'm sure years to come, some people are going to have that testimony. Some of us are also going to say that. That is, if we are still alive then, that once upon a time, God gave us a man, Dr. Michael Boadi Nyamekye. Viewers, this is Wednesday. We are grateful to have you here. I have some few messages. Let me see if I can run through some of them quickly. All right, this is from Hillary, Mami Ajwa. And Hillary is saying that when I lost my dad, I was unable to cry there. And then, he said, I was unable to cry there and then, as I watched his body wheeled away. But the floodgates were open when I drove home. It all came out. May he continue to rest, okay, in peace. Thank you, Hillary, for the message. Said that, I remember I couldn't cry at my own mother's funeral. I felt like nothing has happened. I believe the Holy Spirit strengthened me. Okay. Life is a play that whether you are well costumed or not, you have to get on the stage. All right. Life well lived. That's from Mercy Tutua Ewa. And this is from Brakweku Samson. Life is a play that whether you are well costumed or not, you have to get on the stage. Okay. I lost both parents 15 years ago and 6 months ago, and the pain is just too much. My heart still aches. Akosia kwachi minta. Akosia, may God console you. All right. Okay. God gave us a man called Papa Michael. That's from Mercy Tutua again. All right. Please keep the messages coming. We have people watching us from the UK, from Benin. Apple Queen is watching us from Dubai. We have this one from Kenya, Nairobi. Caroline Wanjuku Jane, JLM. Yeah. And Bishop Grace Dalizu is still online. He's also watching.
My love to Bishop.
Okay. My died of hypertension as well. I think he was talking about the father. Hypertension as well. Okay, the mother. And she will not take her medication. This is from Cynthia Amaduma.
Yeah.
Are you saying that too? In reference?
No, there was a generation that was very... they walked in faith, but not in wisdom. There was a generation that walked in faith, but not in wisdom.
But that is not contradictory.
Nope. Okay. They are very complementary.
Okay.
You have faith. You have faith that God is a provider, but you go to work.
Sure.
Okay. Because they have to go together. Although God provides, He provides through your acts, your deeds, or your actions and inactions, whatever it is. So there was a generation like that. There was a generation, if you know how the Church of Pentecost started, the Chibentua days. Yeah, that's it. There was a generation that said, if you're a believer and you are sick, you don't take drugs. You have to pray your way into good health.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm saying the faith is there. But the wisdom is also to understand that God gave somebody their mind to do medicine. Such that if somebody is able to diagnose, prescribe, or produce a drug that your own lifestyle or habit has lifted your cholesterol levels, your pressure levels, and it will bring it to normalcy. It is also the wisdom of God given to another person. So although you have faith, there is also a part called wisdom. You are a man of faith. The man called Moses was 80 years old. His eyesight was not dim. His strength was not abated. You pray very much, but you wear spectacles.
You are going.
Yeah, you wear spectacles. So it's not that you don't have faith, but in divine wisdom, if you are, say, short-sighted, God has given another the wisdom to give you a lens that will correct that. It's not that not that you don't have faith in God. In fact, I have seen a lot of preachers who, even when they are about to read their Bible, they have to put on their spectacles. After they finish reading, they put it down and they will preach faith. It doesn't mean that they are off course. It's not like that at all. There is a place for faith and there is a place for wisdom. And you should know that they are intricately interwoven. You can't decouple them. Okay. There is faith, there is wisdom. Faith says God is a provider. Wisdom says the hand that does not work must not eat. So I have to work. That is wisdom. But I believe in the God who is a provider. So that whilst I am working, He will route His providence through my work. And that is where we say God will bless the works of your hands. So with His providence, He routes them through the wisdom that you display. So wisdom is supposed to be on display at all times for humans. And like I said, there was a generation like that. I got into the faith when that generation was very strong. It was very strong then. Where when you are sick,
you don't.
No. I mean, where I grew up, okay, when you are sick, you are not rushed to the hospital, you are rushed to the mission house.
Wow. To be prayed for.
To be prayed for. No, we carry you. Like those times there was convulsion. Now I don't know if they're still there. I don't think people convulse like that. Okay.
Convulsions.
But in those times when there is anybody convulses, they will carry the person and rush the person to the mission house. Yeah. The prayers will be lifted. And the prayer of the righteous did much greater works then. I didn't see a child that was taken to the mission house who died there. Maybe God was evangelizing through that. But again, it wouldn't have been wrong if the child was also taken to the hospital. Because I also know that there are people who have been sent to prayer camps who have died.
That's it. It's true. So faith is a one side step.
No, wisdom is the principal thing. The Bible did not say faith is the principal thing. Wisdom is the principal thing. In all your gettings, get understanding. So I would rather be a man of wisdom All right. So what were you saying?
That's my folks. we were
No,
taking
but walk in wisdom. Let's not, belittle
Very, very important.
the argument. Walk in wisdom. I don't think there is anybody I know who has faith more than I do have. I believe everything. I believe what God is able to do. What will frighten people, it doesn't frighten me. I will face anything head on. But there's a place for wisdom. There is a sure place for wisdom. And if you are praying, pray for it.
Wow. Okay. Well, before I even came in with this, we spoke about the essence of life, how we have to live. So essentially, what it means about how we live makes meaning of your death. For example, if you live well, that means your sorry. Let me put the words right. I'm saying that how you live will now tell that whether how you relate to people will now tell whether your life was well lived or not.
Well, a life well lived is a life that had impact. A life well lived is not a life that built a 100-bedroom house in a remote village or in the middle of a jungle, had nobody around, did not become a blessing to anybody. There was nobody who directly benefited from that life. That's not a life well lived. A life well lived is a life of impact. How many people can attribute their rising to yours? Have you watched the movie 300 before?
No.
Okay, you are righteous, man. Right, I learned righteous people don't watch movies, but those of us who watch movies, I know there are people watching right now who might have seen that movie, 300. Leonidas, when they were meeting King Xerxes, and he was told by an emissary that the army coming is so huge that their arrows will cloud the sun. Then Leonidas said, then we will fight under the shade. Now, when the king wanted him, King Xerxes had wanted him to bow, and he took his gauge, threw the spear, and they threw arrows at him to kill him. When he was about to die, a soldier had already fallen, was gasping for breath. Final moments of the soldier. The soldier said to King Leonidas that I'm glad to die by your side. The Leonidas said, I was glad I lived by your side. Who is glad that you live by his side? Who is happy that you are in his life or in her life? Who around you can say that having you around me, I think I can face tomorrow? Or I have comfort and confidence in life because I have you in my boat. Who can proudly say that I'm happy to have lived by your side? Those are some of the questions that you should be able to ask yourself. That you are happy or somebody is happy to know you. I'm glad to know you. I'm happy to know you. If knowing you brings pain, heartaches to people, you have a problem. But when people know you and they get to have encounters with you, it should spark joy, a renewed sense of hope. Something that is unspeakable should come to you.
But there are people who lived, their lives were impactful to many people, or let's say they were well known. Others too was just about some few people.
That's fine. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. It's been him. I have mentioned this to you before. It's not everybody was called to the masses. Okay. There are people who, in their lifetime, the number of people they can make an impression upon will not be more than 50. Others will do 1,000. Others will do 100,000. Others will do 1,000,000. Others will do more. It doesn't matter. You should make sure that you die empty. Don't die like Elisha, who will carry your oil to your grave. Die empty. Pass it on. You don't watch movies, so it's very difficult to talk to you about this. I don't know whether it's because you wear spectacles, but
I do. Maybe I would.
But the thing is,
we're going to talk about
if you've seen the movie, I think it's Nicole Kidman, or not so sure, but the movie is titled Lucy. If you've watched Lucy before, she's taking a chemical that opened her brain. But she got to a point she was using about 80-90% of her brain capacity. She could suppress pain. She could move back and forth into time. If there is something to be done, like she can take a bullet and still walk. Okay. Now there was Morgan Freeman in the movie, who happened to have been the leading scientist, giving a lecture. She was conducting a research. In the movie, the leading scientist, Morgan Freeman, had asked Lucy that with all this information that you are giving, one of them had asked, and what I think Morgan Freeman had told Lucy was that pass it on. So whatever thing you have, whatever information you have, whatever grace you have, whatever gift you have, whatever talent you have, do you think that in the olden days, about 100 years ago, when there were no pharmaceutical products in our part of the world, our people were not treating ailments and diseases? They were. But what they were using to treat people, they never wrote it down, they never passed it on. Okay. And so there are certain things there are certain diseases that are indigenous to the black race, but we have no documented procedure of handling them, because our people didn't pass it on. Don't die like that. Die knowing that whatever you had acquired, you passed it on. That's the reason why I went back to the classroom to teach, so that whatever I know, I can pass it on. And so it's the same thing. Make sure that whatever you know, you can pass it on. Don't die with the grace, the gift, the talent, and all of that you have.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Whatever you know, pass it on. Die empty. Don't carry the gifts and the talents that you have inside of you. Don't carry them into the grave. On that note, we want to take a short break here. When we return, we'll continue with the discussion. Please stay tuned.
Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and the Bible says he shall direct your path. If you really spend time with God, you will have a relationship with God, and that will help you, because you see, if you don't have time, if you don't have relationship with God, that will be the time that anybody at all can just throw anything at you, and you think that it makes theological sense. Because if you really know God, he said the Spirit of God shall guide you into all truth. In all your doings, make sure that your relationship with God is intact, because this too shall pass, and those that know their God will do exploit afterwards. David said, for in the time of trouble, God has the ability to hide us. That he hides me in his pavilion. God had never abandoned his people before. He won't start with us. He saved his people from plagues. When there was darkness in Egypt, there was a light in Goshen.
What makes life important and people succeed in life is identity and mentality. They say if you want to go far, you go with people, but if you want to be fast about it, go alone. I would say that probably there is truth in any of the statements, but one thing is sure, that there is nobody who has ascended to his mountain of transfiguration with company. Jesus did not ascend the mountains with them. Why? Because you see, for you to get to the apex or the zenith of life, you need to understand and learn the principles of being alone when you want to fly. You don't need company when you are flying. I'm telling you. You see, eagles don't flock. Being alone is situational. Being lonely is mental.
Human beings are important, but there is a place for humanity. There is a place for divinity. If people are not ready to rise, don't stay down with them. I keep telling people, never compromise your excellence to accommodate the mediocrity of others. Jesus was not lifted with his disciples. When he was being lifted on the cross of Calvary, he was lifted alone. When he was lifted alone, it tells you that by one man, the Bible says, by one man sin entered into the world, and by one man sin is taken out of the world. God does not need multitude to perfect his will. God can use only you, and so trust in your own abilities God has given to you. The eagle trusts in its wings. The eagle does not flock with others. God, when he wants you to move to your next level, he will always put your faith on trial, and until you are able to overcome the boisterous and the tempestuous winds that will come up against you, you are not ready to be given the crown of success or significance. Anytime God will give you a word, you will not see him in the boat, but he has oversight responsibility over the journey. Whatever you are going through, he's just watching. Most of the time, the devil will not start when you start. He'll only get through to you when you happen to be in the middle of the journey. God will always put your faith on trial. And when he does that, it is not because he wants you to fail, but he wants to make a bold statement with you and make a statement of claim to the devil. And anytime God is making boast of you, he is putting your faith on trial.
All right, welcome back to Wednesday with Dr. Michael Boadi Nyamekye. We thank you. We appreciate you still being online to watch us. Please send forth your questions. If you have any contribution to make as well, you can actually send it to us on the page as well. Just before we went for the break, Papa spoke about how we need to live an impactful life. We shouldn't die with the gifts into the grave. We should die empty. Okay. So moving on, Papa, we should die empty and live a life of impact. That means that regardless of the age that someone exits this world, what really matters is the impact that the person had in life.
That's the most important thing. I mean, as I keep saying, Jesus died at 33 years and 6 months, or 33, between 33 and 34 years, if you want to be exact. The man called John the Baptist had died in his early 30s. I believe that if it was in our times, it would have been gone too soon. Or what a shock. But they fulfilled destiny. Because a man's assignment is what keeps him moving. You see, your longevity on earth is tied to your assignment. So somebody's assignment will require that they live to 100. Somebody's assignment will require that they will live to 50. Another person probably 30 or 40. It's all right. It's all assignment that will determine how long you live. It's not the numerical value that is placed on your existence. It's the assignment that you carry. It's once you are done with your assignment, no matter how old you are, you can leave the stage of life because it's a play. And others can take, because if everybody had stayed on or lived on, you couldn't have walked on earth, because everywhere would have been choked with people. So people have to exit and others will come in. It's just the same thing.
But do you believe that others too have exited prematurely?
Of course, but that is if I want to be a bit more objective. If I walk in the realm of subjectivity and talk about the sovereignty of God and believe in the book of Lamentations that who is he that says a thing and it cometh to pass without the sanctioning of the heavens, or whatever happens on earth, God would have to allow it, then I would say that no, even if the person committed suicide, that was the person's mode of exit. But I've also come to realize that if scripture says that the thief cometh not but for to steal, to kill, and to destroy, that there can be a killing that is done by the thief. And so somebody can also exit that is not the original. Okay, so watch this. In the book of Job, chapters 1 and 2, when the devil had appeared before God, right, amongst the sons of God, God gave him an instruction that do anything you want, but don't touch his soul, or don't touch him. Don't take his life. Because he came to seek permission from God. Why? Because he was a God man. He had a relationship with God. The devil had even confirmed that because you've built walls around him. So does it mean that there are people that when the devil meets, he can take or touch their souls or touch their lives? So those are some of the things that if you are to walk in objectivity, you can talk about. Yes, people can die prematurely. If you don't walk in wisdom, and you say that he said we will take poison and we will not die, and you get DDT, and you power it with Coca-Cola. You power DDT with Coca-Cola, and you freeze it and pray for 4 hours, and you come and say that whatever is in this, may it quench my appetite, or may it quench my thirst. It's possible the person might live. It's possible. It's possible. But there is 99.999% chance that this person will die.
That's right.
The reason why the person will die is because the person is tempting the Lord his God. In the book of Deuteronomy, thou shalt not tempt the Lord your God. You, the believer, will take poison and will live if you didn't know. So if somebody poisoned my food, I can eat it and nothing will happen to me. But if I said, God, this is your word, I'm drinking it, I'm taking the poison, prove yourself strong as a mighty, terrible warrior, the angels and the cherubs will wait for you in the afterlife and will welcome you home.
Okay.
And tell you how stupid you have been. So in all honesty, you can take your own life. People can, there are people who can exit prematurely. Those can happen. But again, it depends on the angle I'll stand, or I'll view this whole question. Because sometimes if you want to be objective, yes, it is. But if you walk or you put on your subjective lenses as somebody who preaches on the sovereignty of God, then you will say that God will have to endorse it, sanction it before it happens, because nothing happens without divine enforcement.
In living an impactful life, is it tied to some sort of like leaving a legacy? Or let's say, how many lives you touched on whilst you were alive? You now exited, and nobody can really assess and tell that, oh, this person did this, that. Would that be an impactful life lived?
If nobody can assess what you did?
Yeah.
So how impactful was it then?
Let's say it cannot be accounted for in terms of, because there are people that, I'm saying this on the backdrop that there are people that lived, that after their death, that was when we realized that, oh, this was what the person stood for. He did that. It didn't really impact people as of the time that when they were alive. Can we say that they...
But life's impact in itself is better assessed after your demise. Because normally, that's, I mean, quite recently, may the Lord keep his soul, Sir John, when he passed on and people were singing his praise, did you know about all of the things that he was doing? Taking care of a community, making sure everybody was running to him when they needed help, taking care of the people in his village, sending people to school, doing all of that. People didn't even know that. But the lives he encountered knew that. Because they are the ones that are going to trumpet what you did. So the whole world might not know. But the people that had a direct impact as a result of your encounters with them will know. You can't live and nobody will know until you die. Save, of course, you lived alone and you wrote something and you hid it and they went to dig it and you wrote your name that I'm the one who invented these things. So after you bring it out, give me credit, something like that. But if people will come into contact with you, even if it's 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, They are the ones who are going to trumpet who you are. That's why even till date, if they want to talk about, say, the former president, His Excellency Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, or Professor Ivan Zeta Mills, His Excellency, if they want to talk about any of them, they want to talk to people who knew them, because the people who knew them had a direct impact from him, and they can tell. There is a public life that you can tell that, okay, the person did A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. But some people too, their lives are not in the public domain, but the private people they had encounters with will be able to tell.
Akosia from Tamale sends us a message. Let me read it out just as she says. It says that, where and how will humanity meet divinity on our exit path? I don't know if the question is so clear. She's asking where and how will humanity meet divinity?
Every human being has a divine presence at every point. So walking in divinity is not something that you experience after life. You can experience heaven on earth. Okay? You as a human being can experience heaven on earth. You can experience the Zoe of God. You can experience all of that, which are all aspects of the divine life or divinity. But on your path to death, there is no humanity again. You leave humanity behind. You are only taking on the clock of immortality. Whether you are going to be in the divine presence of God or get into the other side that we don't want to talk about, it's another topic altogether. But there is no point on your way to death that humanity will meet divinity. When you are going, humanity is left behind you. What makes you human is not your spirit. What makes you human is your body. Because if you take this body off, your mortal remains off. People will not call you a human being anymore. So you are a human being because of your body. The spirit will live on. And when the spirit is exiting, the pain, the heartaches, Liverpool, Arsenal match, Tottenham, Newcastle match, they are all irrelevant.
Manchester United.
Man United.
Drawing with Southampton.
They will be fine. They will be fine. You know, I support Spurs.
No,
United is my team.
Okay.
United is my team. United is my club.
Okay.
Spurs is my team.
Okay. And now Spurs is on the 8th. Also.
Oh no, I think we are 8th. Yeah. But we just, I just checked. We have scored 2-1 against Spurs, against Newcastle. So.
But even as you were on set.
I checked. When you went on your break, that's what I used my phone for.
Folks, that's Dr. Michael for you. Okay, all right. We will continue. We have some questions, and please, folks, please send in the questions. Forgive me if I've skipped some of them. I would be getting them through and see if I could read them back to us. Yeah. So we're talking about impact, living a life of impact, impacting lives whilst you are alive. Don't wait till you are about dying. Okay. Oh, forgive me. This thing is not helping me. All right. I wish there was a question that someone.
You even scored 3-1.
You're up by 3-1.
Yeah. Spurs is 3
But
goals
would
up.
it change anything on the log?
I'm not so sure. It's just confidence.
Okay.
Confidence for next season.
Okay. All right, folks. So we're talking about impact. Yeah. Living a life of impact was your life.
Yeah.
Impact, from what you've explained to us, is on different levels. You said it's not everybody that is born to really champion us. So, which means that in that small corner, be of impact. But life is also measured. I think you've said this time and over that you are measured or assessed by your capacity to do more. For example, you have said over time that you assess people based on their capacity or their potential, so to speak, not on what they do. So, for example, if a young man is expected to attain to a certain height, but he doesn't get there, let's say he's supposed to impact about 100 people as per his potential, but he ends up doing, let's say, only 10 people was he able to help. Would that have been a life well lived?
Well, him being able to affect 100 people, we wouldn't know. Maybe he desired to meet or affect 100 people. Like I would desire to employ every youth that is unemployed. You cannot.
Okay.
You can only do what God wants you to do, what your capacity allows you to do. But in terms of capacity, even coming to capacity, what you don't have, you can build.
Okay.
What you can build, you can acquire through other people. So you can staff your weaknesses as well. But if your potential will mean that you can affect 100 people, and you were able to do 10, and that was what reasonably you could have done, I feel that the 10 people will rather affect the others that you couldn't affect. So we should always look at the exponential effect of helping one. You see, the numbers will tell you that one will put 1,000 to flight. If I make it 2, it's 10,000.
That's right.
Not 200.
Yeah.
So if I'm able to affect 10 people, it is not 10 times 100, which is 1,000. The exponential growth is what we should measure it with. So maybe the person was supposed to be just a centurion, but in effect has groups of 10s that he gives command to 10 people, not the 100 people. If you look at it that way too, you'll not be too bothered. At every point, make sure that if you die now, you'll be able to say that I have no regrets. Whoever I could touch, whoever I could affect, whoever I could help, whatever I could do, I did it. If you're able to tell yourself that, or if you're able to give yourself that kind of answer, I don't think you have any problem or regrets.
Some religious people think that once, and to some Christians, I've accepted Christ, or I'm religious, I'm doing A, B, C, and D, I'm living right, I'm not doing this, I'm not committing this sin, I'm doing that. And to the person, that is enough. There's nothing he's doing for society. He's not really doing anything to. For such people, how are their lives going to be? Because some people think that once I've, for example, even Christian, though, I've believed Jesus, I've given my life to Jesus, and therefore I'm living righteous, I'm living a holy life, and for that will take me to heaven. As far as I'm concerned, that is all that matters. Such lives, are they lives that are being lived well?
Everybody has their own aspirations and expectations in life. If you feel like after accepting Christ, that's all right, you should stay home and pray until death lays his icy hands or cold hands on you, it's all right. It's your
life well lived?
That's the person. Maybe the person thinks he lived well. But if it's about impact, then you ask yourself, if you're a Christian and you die without affecting your society and it's called an impactful life, then you have a problem.
But is it not a must that every Christian should impact society? Or
every human being. You don't have to be a Christian to live an impactful life. Whether you're a Buddhist, a Shintoist, a Muslim, a Christian, as long as you are having breath in you, you should be able to live an impactful life. Okay. There are Muslims that are employing hundreds and thousands of people. Christians even work for them. They pay them. They are able to also pay their kids' school fees, affect their families, giving scholarships to the poor and the needy in society. It's impactful life. It's not the preserve of being called a Christian. You as a Christian, you are the light of the world. And so if the world doesn't see light through you, you are a disgrace to Christianity.
Wow.
Not just Christian. If you're a human being and you don't live an impactful life, you are wasting God's air.
Wow.
Because there was a vacuum God saw that he picked you to fill that void. So you not doing that means that you've shortchanged the heavens.
How do we know that this is the kind of vacuum I have to come and fill?
You are taking us back to some things that we have done way back, and discovering your purpose, your assignment. That's why I said, so whatever you do is assignment driven. is purpose driven. If your assignment is such that you came to be the one clearing the way, once the way is cleared, you don't see excavators on the road after they have finished constructing the road. It's supposed to be taken to the yard. It's the same thing. Once you have done your work, you are taken to the yard. So you have to know. I don't think it's something that it's an unquestionable, undeniable fact that your relevance is based on how well you lived, your assignment, how you performed your duties, and the grace with which you executed God's purpose for your life.
You've personally, let me bring it back to you. You've done a lot. You're a college professor, a general overseer of a very big thriving ministry, Makers House Chapel International. You're a business person. You consult. You are lecturing. You are doing too many things at that. Would you say that the impact you've had so far is enough, and therefore, even as of now, should you exit, you're okay?
I'll kick myself if I exit now. I won't. There is no pain, so I won't say I'll be hurt when you exit. I'll kick myself because I feel that I'm warming up. I feel that I've not even started living. Because day in, day out, my appetite and what I want to do becomes even much more plain and clear to me. So with me, if you ask me, if I exit right now, I am going to kick myself. I have not started living yet. I want to make sure that I affect much more people than I have affected, not just with gospel, because with the gospel we will. That we must. But I want to create avenues for people to do well. I want to do a lot more businesses. I want to impart more people. I want to mentor more people, young men, young women, help them discover and identify what they have, and also push them. I want to also help in national development. And so the little we can do, whether it is from the social point of view or from religious point of view, whatever it is, but to help a discourse. So I'm nowhere there yet. If the fathers and the men of strength and timber are still living and they want to do more, I've not even won the jersey yet. I think I'm doing warm-up exercises. So with me, I don't feel as though I've apprehended. I've not done anything. I am in line to be something that I want to become. So I'm really looking forward to that. I have that kind of appetite. You will look at me and think that, oh, you've achieved so much, just as you said. But I look at me, I stand in front of the mirror, I look at myself, and I could just see the appetite in my eyes to do more. Wow. So I've not done anything. I don't think I've taken care of about 1,000 people through to the university yet. I want to be able to say that at least in my lifetime I gave thousands of people scholarships to study home and abroad. I want to be able to say that I've raised 1,000 generals of the gospel, if not more. I want to be able to look back and say that there is a business that when you look at it, you can attribute it to my existence. I want to be able to do more. I want somebody to say that, oh, I was also struggling until I met him and he gave me an idea, or he held my hand, he opened the door for me, and I became a big man. I want to be able to live that kind of life. But now, what have I done? Nothing. Maybe brick and mortar, but nothing.
Wow. like Apostle Paul say, he takes his eyes off what he's done,
Yeah.
and presses towards the mark. Okay. But someone sends a message and saying that, is it possible to live well and be impactful and still not achieve your purpose? Is it possible to live well and be impactful and still not achieve your purpose?
It's possible, because you see, you can. Today I was giving an example to a pastor who called me, and I was talking to him about focusing on your assignment, and I told him that if I give you the contract to fix the street lights, that is the assignment I gave you. But maybe when you finished with the street lights and the lights came on, you saw that the rubbish on the street did not really add to the beauty of the lights you've done. So you decided to sweep the street. I might decide to pay you for it. I might decide not, because I didn't ask you to do it. Now, if the person got there, and instead of the person's fixing the street light, which was his assignment, the person decided, oh, the street is not nice, let me tidy up, let me clean. And the time was up for me to come and do the inspection. I came to meet the street well swept or well kept, beautifully done. The impact is there. People driving on oh, this street is looking nice. So there is an impact. But does that fulfill the assignment of the street light? No. So you can do that. You can. It's possible.
So there are people who they've had impact in their life, but they've not fulfilled their assignment.
Yeah, because the assignment, you can do other things outside your assignment. If you do your assignment and you add that to it, it will be something that is nice. It's like the aesthetics of it. But people rather concentrate on the aesthetics rather than the structure. You can build and make the building very nice. If the structure is not strong, it will come down. Things will go off. So a lot of people rather get fixated on the aesthetics, how it will look nice, not how it will stand the test of time. So it's possible. There are so many possibilities around that. It's possible, yes. You can live and be impactful, and everybody will say that it was a life well lived, because when I was, again, back to that same example, fix the light, the streets were dirty, you tidy up the street, because people use it, they will tell, oh, he's the one that did the street, oh, it's nice, it's immaculate, this and that. But the real assignment I gave him was not to sweep the streets. It was to fix the lights. If he had finished and he had time to do the sweeping, I might come and say, thou good and faithful servant. But if you have not done what I sent you to do, no matter the intentions, it will still be judged as an ill-intended endeavor.
But dwelling on that same analogy you used, why would people shift focus, let me say, by sweeping the streets and not fixing
misplaced priorities?
Is it that they don't know the exact assignment?
It's not that. Misplaced priorities. You see, and a lot of pastors have that problem too. If you stand before your congregation and you ask your congregation, let's raise money or funds to go and buy a guitar, and you raise the funds, and when you raise the funds, you got there and they told you there is no guitar there, but there is a keyboard. If you really have the spirit of fair play and integrity, you will come back and report. You won't buy keyboard, send it to the church and tell the church people, when I got there, they said there is no keyboard, so I bought a guitar. You've lost your integrity with very discerning people.
Wow.
Buy the guitar and ask for an organ if you want to. So it's normally misplaced priorities. A lot of us, we do things that are very convenient. Most of us
are very convenient.
Very, very convenient. If you got there and it's not there, your assignment is to fix street lights. Fix it. Fix it. When he comes, he's going to judge you based on the contract you signed. The contract was to fix street lights. Why are you sweeping the streets? Was that part of your contract? No. But if you finish fixing it and you did the sweeping, what you have done is that you've bought yourself some goodwill. But if you did not fix the street lights and you did the sweeping, you have not. You don't have integrity. I can't trust you. You are not reliable. You are not trustworthy. Because what I paid you to do, you didn't do it. Although what you did is also very helpful. It's good. But it's not right. And so a lot of people do good things, but not the right things.
But we live in a time and day when people seem to confuse or mix up popularity with impact. Must every impactful life be popular?
Depends on the dispensation. Depends on the dispensation. You live in a dispensation whereby people are on media, social media, people are reporting everything. So normally there are some things that you do that will definitely catch the attention of the media. So even if you don't want it out there, it can be out there. But there are so many lives that have been impactful that dealt with people on the quiet. From of old, people fed many and they didn't do feeding the hungry campaign. So there are things that will catch the eye of the media now, but there are also people too who do things on the quiet. They get a widow and kids, and they go to them and tell the widow that I want to be taking care of your kids, but I don't want anybody to know about it. There are people who are doing that. But just as I said, it won't be popular with the masses, but it's popular with the beneficiaries. Whoever, so you can't say that I lived an impactful life in silence. No. Somebody or the person that is affected by it will know. And once that one person knows that your life was impactful, that's enough. It doesn't have to be on a front page. It doesn't have to be on front.
Which means that there are people who have had, lived impactful lives, but maybe the world didn't really get to hear of it. But
of
just
course.
a few people.
It will always happen like that. It will.
So I was asking this because it looks like now every little thing someone is doing, it has to, I think there's the push to catch everybody's attention, even though sometimes the impact is really
not all people are like that. People do that now. Most of the people who do that now are for publicity purposes. Okay, for if somebody is doing, for instance, if you are a brand or people are selling products and they do any good deed, they want it out there so that it gives them the mileage as part of their CSR activities. So there are so many things that you can look at. But there are still people who also do things that would be like Jesus, who said, tell no one. But there are other times too that you tell, okay, everybody must hear of this. Yes. Asan
Yao sends us a text. He says that I really like the analogy of the street light on the explanation of God's assignment for our lives. God bless you, Papa. A lot of people do good things, but not the right things. From Daniel Redeemed. And from Nelly Wakaba. Says that good things, but not the right things. I hear you say misplaced priorities. Deep insights from Samuel Labi. A lot of people do good things, but not the right thing. Florence Mamile McCarthy also saying that. All right. So, folks, we'll be wrapping up pretty shortly. So, please, if you have any questions, send them in. I'm not sure today we'll be able to pick up your phone calls. So, please, if you have any messages, so let us know. So, back to what we've been discussing from the beginning, talking about death. So, it shouldn't scare us. It's not something that you should be fixated on. As you said, you shouldn't wake up thinking of, hey, what if I die today? But would that not be also sort of like a guide to help you know how to live your life? Because I read from somewhere that live as if today was your last day, and then, live as if today was going to be your last. If it was your last day, how would you going to be? I think the writer was trying to talk about the urgency of life, trying to be urgent with life. Would that not also help us in
living, thinking, when am I going to die?
Yeah, what if I pass? Yes,
what if I pass on?
So therefore, it is going to help you.
I don't think that should be your preoccupation. Because as I said, it will come. Don't even go looking for it. It will come. It will come and take you away one day.
But once it kicks in, I think it brings you a place of a bit of sobriety. Is that not so?
Of course, but you died when you were born, and if you existed before you were born, the lessons you learned before you were born, you can't remember them. Before you were a clot of blood in your mother's womb, I know you. So you had a life before birth. You have a life after death. But just as whilst you live in the conscious state or self, you can't recall what happened before your birth. What will happen after your death is not something you can explain whilst you are here. So getting yourself fixated on when and how, it shouldn't be your problem. Okay. It shouldn't. Just make sure that whatever you have to do now, you are doing it. Ultimately, we are all dead men. Ultimately. It's just waiting for the right time. Okay. Death will bring its palanquin to carry you away one time. So just wait for it. The drums will sound, and when it sounds, you know they are coming for you. But until then, live your life well, live happy, be good to people, be a blessing to as many people as you can, and don't walk in jealousy or envy. Okay? Whoever you are envying have a different expiry date. If you envy me now, you don't know when I'll exit. If I envy you now, I don't know when you will exit. And don't wish to be like anybody in terms of standing in their perfect life. Wish to learn lessons from their lives, but don't wish to stand in the perfection of their lives, because they might exit before you exit. Save, of course, you are telling them that the day you exit, I want to die with you. But if that is not the case, when you meet people, good people, pick lessons from them. The right things that you see around them, learn from them, pick it up. No envy, no greed, no jealousy. Don't undermine people. Don't break people's heart. If you love with your all. If you have a room to hate failure. Don't hate people.
If you have room to hate, you hate failure.
Hate failure. Don't hate people.
It's a very profound
statement. But make sure you don't keep anybody hostage in your heart. Forgive people, love people, and be nice to people, because you don't know when they will exit. And sometimes, if you don't forgive somebody, you will not have the opportunity to forgive them, because they will exit. And when they exit, you wouldn't have made peace with them. So make sure you make peace with people, love people, and live well.
Wow. I should be wrapping up shortly, but there's this question that is a bit interesting. I'm tempted to laugh. Someone is asking, says that, does ghost exist? Ghost exist.
Well, Jesus gave us an answer in the Bible when he was walking on the sea, and Peter was sinking. They saw him coming from afar off. The Bible says, and they thought he was a ghost. And scripture says, Jesus said, when he appeared to them, that ghost, that is after his death, ghosts do not have the flesh he was presenting to them. So ghost in its etymology simply means spirit, and spirits do exist.
Okay, all right. So Nana,
as to whether their departed soul, those are two different things. I'm not confirming that if somebody has died and you hear tap opening, is the ghost of them. That's not my confirmation. Ghost, the word ghost is just spirit. That's why we say Holy Ghost.
Okay.
Or Holy Spirit. So Holy Ghost, ghosts do exist.
Do exist. Okay.
Just like the same word is for spirit. So spirits do exist. As to whether the departed soul comes haunting people, it's another topic for discussion.
Okay. I'm sure maybe that's where Nana Jima was trying to get to. But he said maybe...
no, don't assume for Nana. Let Nana write.
Anyways, This is from Abeku Fire, says that God bless you, Papa. I'm encouraged. Kweku Fanwell says that God bless you, man of God. Wisdom at his speak from Joanne Ameao. Michael Ofori saying that I love you, Papa. Lots of messages coming through. Be good to people. Yes, reiterating what you said. Don't envy or jealous people. Josephine Kaki McCarthy. All right. Today, as you are aware, we have live audience. I wish I could give maybe two of them. I've seen Pastor Baja
next week. You want them to ask questions?
Yes, I'm sure. Yeah.
Okay. Any question?
Pastor Baja is here. Yeah,
we have a lot
live audience.
Live audience. Okay. So
we have
any
Minister
question?
Ken, Minister Divine, Pastor Baja, Lady Pastor, Mrs. Baja is also here.
There's a question at the back.
There's a question at the back.
So let the person
answer. All right. From Miss Sarah. Yes. Okay. Okay, go ahead and we'll hear.
The question is, when a person fulfills their destiny or their purpose on earth, does it mean that automatically the person has to exit? Just like that. Or the person sometimes will leave for a while before the person exits?
Well, I'll prefer the former. That if I finish my assignment, call me home. I don't want. Okay, so what's the point in sitting behind the TV if the movie is over? What's the point? I mean, she was asking whether a person dies or should die after they are done with their assignment, or if they will live on even after their assignment. And my answer is, it's like going to the movies and the movie is over, but you just want to see who was what, and producer and the third person, cameraman, and in charge of photography. You want to watch all of that. I mean, when the movie is over and they say the end, before that kind of thing comes up, everybody starts walking away. And I think that's how life should be. Actually, there are people who have lived on after assignment, and they almost ruined the assignment. When Sarah gets to heaven, she's going to ask John the Baptist. You know, John was assigned to prepare the way of the Lord, to declare that, okay, prepare the way, crooked paths be made straight, rough places be made smooth. When John started talking about marriage, he had moved out of assignment. He was assigned to clear the way. That was his assignment. When it was done and Jesus had been introduced, instead of him enjoying the little life God has given to him, he wanted to change assignment by talking about Herodias's polygamous, going after his brother's wife. And God said, Master, but did I call you to become a marriage counselor? Or so he had moved out of assignment. And normally when you move out of assignment, you pay with your head. So it is better you stay on assignment. And I think that once your assignment is done, you should go home. Go and rest. I mean, who stays in the classroom after school? You are well and you are still in the hospital. Be discharged and go home. So that's how it works.
The same question also coming up again just before we wrap up. Like knowing when exactly that your assignment is over. I don't know, apart from Jesus Christ, were there people that knew that, and maybe Elijah, that knew that the assignment were over? Like they were done with the assignment on earth?
Well, there is always a sense of fulfillment. If Paul could get there and say that I've run the race and I've finished the course, I think that you can get to a place where you know that you've hit your peak. You should be able to know that, okay, if this is the assignment, I was brought to school. I was supposed to graduate after 4 years. And I don't have any referral. You should be able to tell that, okay, graduation, I'll be part of it.
But that is a very, it's a structured institution with a structure.
Definitely. Life is also very structured. You can live a careless life, but life is a structured endeavor. Life is very structured.
You get to a certain point that you know that, man.
Of course. Either than that, Maslow and the rest will not do the hierarchy of needs and peg something at self-actualization. You get to a place where you feel that you have accomplished or apprehended. Paul said, I have run the race, I've finished the course, I'm waiting for the crown. So you can get to a place where you can say that whatever needed to be done, I've done it.
Okay.
You will get there. Everybody gets there. But again, once you know that God gave you an assignment and told you, Nanapuku, I want you to plant 100 churches. Are you telling me that when you plant 100, you will know you have planted 100?
You will know.
It's just because people don't go back to the giver of the instruction and they don't refer to their manuals. If you know that you were called to do A, B, C, D, and you finish, you can even ask, Lord, when are you taking me home? Dr. Marie Cerullo passed on about 4 days ago. Or more. 10th of July. I spoke with him once in my lifetime. Okay. In fact, I was supposed to have seen him in January. Gone to visit him in January. And I spoke with him over the phone. Pastor Ben Hinn gave me that link. And I spoke with him. And he said, Dr. Michael, if the Lord doesn't call me home, I'll see you soon. Wow. So the man was living, but with a heightened sense of expectation of meeting the Lord or being called home. Why? Because he felt whatever needed to be done with his mortal frame, he had done it. And so, yeah.
Papa, just in a minute, in wrapping up, subject of death. I know it hasn't been fully exhausted. There are other aspects of it, but maybe at a later time, maybe you want to touch on. But in wrapping up, in a minute, what must we do?
Ultimately, we are all dead men. We will all exit at one point. Whatever you are doing, there will be a time that you have to close the book. You have to shut down that computer. You have to stop everything. Life in itself will not stop for you. And so make sure that whatever you have to do, you do it now. Love your people, love your family, give time and attention to your wife, to your husband, to your kids. Give much more attention to the businesses God has given to you. Everything that you are doing, do it with all your heart and your might. If you are in school, study and do all that you have to do. Above all, I will tell you and urge you on that if you die and there is no hell or heaven, you don't lose anything if you are right with God. And so make sure that your spiritual life is upright. You live an upright life. You try as much as possible to live a life that befits the King, that you are dressed well for the party and for the occasion of the afterlife. Now, if you do all of that, I believe that you don't have to worry so much. Don't get worried about death or dying, because it's the best of life's inventions.
The best of life's invention
is death. Everybody will go. So it's just a matter of time. And so something that is going to come to you, why do you run to meet it outside? It will come. Just wait for it. But whilst you are waiting, make sure that your life is impactful and you are a blessing to as many people as possible.
Wow. Okay. All right, folks. So on that note, this is where we bring the program to a close. Many thanks for being part of it. We really appreciate your time, the questions and the contributions that you sent. Thank you so much. I want to say thank you to also the technical team and the producer as well for putting it together. Thank you so much. And a big thank you to our father, Dr. Michael Boadi Nyamekye, for coming our way to bless us this evening. My name is Anapoku, and this is where we bring the program to a close. Please, next week, we are tweeting another very awesome, a mind-blowing one that's going to also bless your life as well. Make a date, same time, next week, when we come your way with another Wednesday. It's bye-bye for now.